Hey everyone, thanks for joining. This is Crypto Vatsik. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. And you can also follow me on Twitter at CryptoVatsik for frequent updates. As always, nothing of what you're about to see is considered financial advice, and these are my opinions only. Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to do some TA on Ethereum. We're going to look at the recent move that we've just had, what it means for the next little while, and where we could expect some targets to form if you want to trade this, either up or down. And then I'm going to cap the video off with some macro perspective and long-term targets as well that we can look forward to. So with that said, let's get right into Ethereum here on the 12-hour. Okay, so as we all know, we had this, of course, recent downtrend, that was very clear, but then we started to, as you know, I've drawn this many times before, is this range, formed this range, and what we saw was basically just this accumulation consolidation kind of ranging between this area and then a eventual breakout, right? So we had a SFP here, swing failure pattern, and then we had bullish SFPs here as well, right? So we had this very nice breakout here, okay? Very nice breakout here, smashed through it, came up, had some distribution here, obviously with a retrace, which was good because what we ended up doing was we tested this liquidity here, okay? So this little area, we came back down, swept the low, the swing low, and went back up, okay? So that was nice to see. Okay, so then what we saw here, we'll just make this green. Then what we saw was a new range form. Just this laddering up, right? You could take it from the wick up here. I like to take it from these candle bodies because it closed inside here quite consistently, couldn't break out. And then maybe to this body here. I'll come down to the wick here, to the swing low basically here. And we had this new range, okay? So we had multiple attempts to break out, multiple swing failure pattern over here because we had tap at the bottom, swing failure pattern was a second attempt, failed, came back up. Again, resistance, came back to the mid-range, deviation, okay? This was a fake out right here, definitely a fake out there, and we had a SFP here as well, okay? So essentially did make a new high here, but essentially was a deviation back into the mid-range, and then we had our eventual breakout, okay? And this is really nice to see when you see this kind of this trend forming with these long, nice legs, these white green candles, right? So you have long legs here for the first move, another leg up, leg, leg, leg. All these legs here is a sign of a very significant, very strong asset. So Ethereum's been performing really well lately. We'll get into why that might be in a little bit as well. But basically, this is what you want to see. This is the trend. Trend is your friend, right? Long legs up, shallow retests, shallow retracements, okay? And the trend is strong. Okay, now let's zoom out a little bit here, okay? What did we see previously over here? Okay, we saw this range form here from this candle, right? So basically we saw this, and I think on other exchanges, on Bitstamp, the wick over here on the left, this low actually came down further, and this one's on Binance, so this one didn't actually come down as far, so the range doesn't fit as nicely, but I'm taking it down to the most, this could basically be said this is acting as strong support here, and then, bounced here multiple times. So I think it's been respected at this level rather than taking it from the wick here and saying this is a deviation kind of thing. So we'll take it down here to where it has the most touches. And then, yeah, up here, this was a very weak, this is a very bearish move here, right? Hovering along the mid-range, barely even testing the top of the range band, and then coming back down and testing multiple times on the lower band before breaking through, right? So very bearish, very weak, and obviously we saw what happened afterwards, and so that's the significant difference between this range here and then the one down here, right? So whereas we had nice strong bounces up, testing the top of the range twice here, and then a third time with a significant strong breakout. This is what you want to see for a change and shift in market structure, right? And then obviously we had this break in market structure here when we broke these highs over here. We broke through them and started a new trend, right? Now, this range. We'll pull this over here, okay? This is going to be critical for what we're seeing now if you're going to look to trade this area, right? So basically we've come back up. We respected the bottom of this previous range, the range low as resistance here. It lines up right with this new range that we had drawn out here just a second ago, right? So resistance, 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 deviation, smashed through it. Now we're back inside this previous range, okay? We're coming up and testing the mid-range here. We're back inside of it, and this is going to be a critical area for this rally that we're seeing right now. In my opinion, this is going to be a critical area where the market's going to decide if we are going to have continuation or some sort of long-term accumulation before going strong up to the upside, or if this is going to be a fail. This is a bear market rally. It's going to fail out, and we're coming back down to test these lows again, okay? Now, if you are going to look to long this, okay, basically what I would want to see is we'll zoom in on a lower time frame here, okay, 4 hour, and what I would want to see is essentially we'll take our fib, okay, yeah, we'll do, it's inverted, but that's okay. Take our fib, and what I would want to see is basically this to fail. So right here where we are, basically this high being tested again, I would like to see a swing failure pattern, okay, and come down, and I would look to enter somewhere around this previous high. It tested these wicks over here, okay, this liquidity, and right around this, it's going to be the 618, but this fib is actually inverted, so right around the 38 percentile here, okay, so this zone is essentially where I'd be looking to get long if I was going to play this, because this has been a strong move right now, right? And we're already at the high of this move, right? So I would not be wanting to enter in there. I'd be looking to enter in this green zone, okay? That's where I would be looking to go long. Now the trick here would be to wait for something like this, right? To wait for a break in that down in this retracement, wait for a break in it to make a higher high, okay? And then you'd want to enter there because you don't know if this is the bottom, right? You know, this could just keep coming down like that, right? So basically you'd want to wait for the break, and then I'd be looking to get long basically on the retest here, somewhere in there, right? And you know, it could come down and retest and do a double bottom sort of thing, but basically you'd want to wait for confirmation that this is going to be support. And then you could take your entry somewhere in there, right? And then I'd be basically putting it below from these wicks over here. You'd wait below these wicks, okay? And just be setting it right there. So, you know, maybe 2.75% risk there on your stop loss. And then I'd be targeting up above, right? So we got some fibs up above here. Basically, we got the 161 and then a 1-to-1 extension up here, which would basically be a nice test of this range high, basically just above it right there. So you could target that. And, you know, the other one is I'll take in a fib extension here, just basically from the bottom of this move to the top, and then draw it out a bit further. And you could say, okay, so, you know, to the 1618, this would be a 1-to-1. We're almost completed a 1-to-1 extension of this move here, right? So we're getting to the highs of this move, in my opinion. We'll get to that in a sec, what I think it's going to happen after. But you could basically be targeting, you know, I'd be targeting the high, at least, just keeping it simple, the high of these highs here from the previous range, right? So basically you take it out and you just say, okay, this is probably your take profit 1, and you might want to have, you know, take profit 2 if you think it's going to go a bit higher. But I'd be looking to take from this move up, I'd be looking to take profit right around there. Okay, so that would be kind of, let's just clean this up a bit. That would be kind of my area for my take profit 1, and you know, you'd want to reevaluate after that. But what I think is going to happen after this, since we're getting to the top of this move, in my opinion, is the question is a bear market rally, or is this going to continue much higher, right? And I think a lot of people have $2,000 on their eyes, and, you know, in their eyes basically as a target. And I could see it, you know, consider the strength of this move, considering the strength of it, I could see it easily coming up just past 2,000, you know, past a bit more of what people are expecting up to these, you know, test these highs, right? So basically these areas here, just test some of these highs, they're untapped. So with that said, if we do get something like that, right, where we hit our target, let me just put these fibs back on 1 sec. If we come up to these highs, okay, if we do get this move that I'm expecting, then I'd be looking to short. Okay. So what I would want to see is not something like this where we get a reaccumulation or consolidation, sorry, consolidation period. Okay. I would want to see basically a sharp rejection, and then I'd want to see a break in that bullish market structure where we come back down, and then a bearish retest. Okay. That's where I'd be looking to get short. Okay. And I'd be basically setting my stop loss right above there. So you'd be entering someone here, somewhere on that bearish retest. I'd be setting my stop loss, okay, above the high, and then I'd be targeting. Honestly, this whole move here is, I'd be targeting down back to the 618. This whole move here has been strong, and we've had very shallow retests. They've none of these retracements have come back down to the 618. They've almost all come back down to like the 382 level. Okay, and so what that tells me is this move has been really strong, but it's due for retracements, due for a correction. And I think that even if this is the bottom, we will get a deep correction back to the 618. We will test, okay, we will test these lows again at some point, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that, you know, we're coming back down to new lows. I mean, at that point, you'd have to reevaluate. But I do think that we will get a great opportunity to get in again at some lower prices if you're looking to get in long term. And then if you're looking to short this, I would basically be targeting the 618 of this whole move here. So this is taken from the top to the bottom, and then this is the 618, right? That's your sweet spot. I'd be basically targeting right around that area to, you know, I might, you know, I'm probably not gonna short this one, but if you're interested in doing that, then you'd be wanting to have your take profits, you know, possibly a couple of these other fib levels, and then that's where I'd be targeting, at least for this move. So that's my thought for now, you know, on a bit more of a macro scale. I think, again, you know, these lows are untested, and this is going to be a critical zone, right, where this is basically going to be a telling sign of if this is just a bear market rally, and, you know, once we test these lows, we'll see if this is our bottom or not, right? And we'll see if we're going to make new lows, or if we are going to hold this low, you know, we're going to hold this area and, you know, continue up, right? So this is going to take time to play out, and nobody knows for sure right now at the moment. You know, we got to test some of these highs first, and then we got to test some of these lows. And that's kind of my thought right now. There's people, you know, saying that the bottom is in, and they're showing, you know, Moon Boys on Twitter are showing breakouts and long-term macro breakouts and stuff like that. And, you know, we don't know that yet, right? Let me just show you here on the Bitcoin chart one sec. Okay, so these I don't like these lines, okay, but these are what I'm seeing on Twitter. People have, you know, I call them Moon Boys, right? They are showing these massive breakouts, and they're saying, oh, look, you know, Bitcoin has, you know, broken out. Look, we've broken out, we've retested, it's going to be up only, right? And so I just look left and I say, okay, so I saw some previous lines too, people were drawing, and they're saying, oh, look, again, we've had deviation, we had a breakout, retest, oh, look, bottom is in. And then what happens? We just came right back down, we had a bear market rally, came right back down, and retested the same trend line twice here, right? So look how much lower. We had a significant drop off of this, much lower, and then consolidation, range, back down to the new low, right? So the same thing could happen here. And, you know, it looks like we've broken out, sure, but people don't realize that this could be a bear market rally, and then we make new lows, and we just retest this same trend line again, potentially, right? So, you know, you got to be really careful with what you see on Twitter, and just understand that, you know, until we have some confirmation, and these lows take time. These bottoms take time, right? So we will get multiple chances, I think, at accumulating at these levels. Even if this is the bottom, right? We will come back up. We will test some of these previous range highs and or previous range lows, and, you know, tap some of this liquidity, and we'll come back down. We'll probably get a couple chances at least before we take off. So just my thoughts anyways. And you know, for long-term targets here, you have to continuously check in with Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So yeah, just for the kind of perspective on the overall market. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for joining, and hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.